Absolutely. And so let's talk about estate planning, Tommy. You got the wills versus trust plans, but I think it's first important to talk about the foundational documents.
Yeah, three foundational documents, whether you go a will-based route or a trust-based route. You have your financial power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney. That is giving the decision-making responsibility to an individual when you can no longer make, either financial or healthcare decisions for yourself. And then you also have a living will, and that is if death is imminent, what do you want, life-saving procedures or not? And so those are foundational documents regardless of whether you look at a will or trust-based estate plan.
And we would definitely encourage people to get them. I mean, especially the financial power of attorney, because how many times do people say to us, hey, I'm just going to put my son Jerry on my bank account? Don't do that. Because here's the deal. What if Jerry gets a divorce? What if Jerry gets sued? Right? They can technically go after half of that asset. So a power of attorney will avoid those type of issues.
Yes, that joint owner or a secondary owner becomes a joint owner of the account and opens up to any of their creditors or
right.
You mentioned divorce. Whereas the financial power of attorney just allows that decision-making ability, not becoming a joint owner.
Well, let's talk about this one, a traditional IRA. Let's say the traditional IRA is in the wife's name. Husband calls in and says, hey, Cam, liquidate X amount of dollars so we, and send it to our bank account. I can't do that without, again, talking to the account owner. Power of attorney documents, depending on when the document's effective, can also make that difference. And folks, real quick, I want to be clear. We're not attorneys here, okay? But again, it's just important that we have these conversations and you need to know this stuff.
Right, and in meeting with that estate planning attorney can make those final decisions
right.
for you. We just kind of want to give you some things to think about and kind of point you in that right direction.
And experiences that we've been through. I mean, I know we look young, but we have been through a time or two when it comes to this stuff. Okay, we just talked about the foundational documents. It's also important that you have a will or a trust-based plan. The question is what makes sense for you. Tommy, let's walk through a will first. Why somebody may pick it, and then we'll talk about a trust.
Yeah, a will is a document detailing where you would like any accounts or property to go when you pass away. Wills go through probate, which may be one of the cons of a will-based estate plan, is that it does go through that probate process. That's court administered, there's no privacy, but it's typically a simpler document, simpler process to set up, less expensive up front, yep. And then if it's in order, the assets will get to where they're supposed to go to.
Right, and a will it can be a good plan for people as well. The key is remember is will equals probate. I mean, it's just that simple, because now here's the thing. Somebody would say to me, well, hey, Cam, I have a will. I have beneficiaries on all of my accounts, on my bank accounts, my brokerage accounts, my IRAs, my 401ks, and I have a home. Why do I even need a will? Shouldn't I avoid probate? This is such a big deal. You just mentioned something, or I just said something where if somebody said, I own real estate, because you have real estate, that will rope everything else into the probate process, and that will be included onto the inventory that in terms of what an attorney can charge when it comes to probate. Where a trust, if you put the house inside of a trust and you have beneficiaries and all of this, you can avoid probate. That's a big one that I think a lot of people don't understand.
Yes, it's very important to, if you are renting or leasing, that will may avoid that probate process. But owned real estate in the state of Iowa gets everything roped back into probate.
Exactly. I mean, we did an episode just on estate planning, so we're just going through the highlights in terms of the time that we have. So now we just talked about a will. Now let's talk about a trust. Let's just talk about a revocable trust, right? A trust that you can revoke, that you can change. There's also irrevocable trust. That's, I think, another conversation down the road. But the reason why somebody may pick a revocable trust is they want to avoid the probate process, and things are not handled through the courts anymore. It's handled through trust administration. Yeah,
it becomes a more private process. And depending on the attorney you're working with, that trust administration process, trusts are typically a little bit more expensive to set up on the front end, but can avoid the costs associated with that probate process, saving money, streamlining the process, can potentially be done quicker to get those assets out to the beneficiaries through a quicker process, and just the privacy.
I'm glad you said. I was getting ready to jump in on that. The privacy end of it, and is handled more in a private family setting. I mean, there's a lot that we talked about today. I mean, this episode is designed to give people that lost a spouse some form of a reference guide in terms of what to do.